Coming from Ontario, right, and more specifically the GTA, especially over the last 2 years during the time of coronavirus, on top of everything else that area has to offer, it felt like a reprieve. It was a part of the country that I'd been to before, and I'd seen a very small amount of what it had to offer, and I knew that I wanted to go back for more. Even when I was first driving in here, because I drove, I didn't fly. As I was driving across the country, I entered into Alberta, and I started seeing these jacks in the fields, just farmland, everywhere. It's all one kind of crop, basically. It looks like that from the start. Across those fields, it was oil. It was energy being produced, and that's something that I'd never seen before, and it just kind of spoke to what I had believed, which is that Alberta, not only did it have something to offer, but as well, it was different from the GTA in the sense that in the GTA, in Ontario, you feel like you live in a bubble. Here, you feel like you're part of your environment. It was all critical. That's what I heard, right? You're coming from Toronto, it's Alberta, oil, tar sands, this icky stuff. It's a massive disaster zone, basically, is what they would have described it as, otherworldly. But then you come here and you realize it's not only is it part of the culture, it's literally part of the land. You've got oil seeping out of the ground in what one might call one of nature's greatest benefits to us, which is the oil sands. And it's so far out there from the reality that's presented at a distance when you don't actually get to see it, feel it, and smell it, quite frankly. 5 favorite things about Alberta. The ingredients, like I went to the grocery store, and yes, they have this in Ontario to some degree as well, but there's a package of these beautiful mushrooms that were handpicked in Alberta. The air, the water as well. I still remember drinking glacial water for the first time, and it's just so clean, especially, you think about Lake Ontario, the kind of water that people are swimming in. So it's the water, the air, food, and the people. There's actually culture here. That's another thing that you wouldn't expect coming from Toronto, because it's a multicultural hub. People go there to bring their culture in many ways. Whereas in Alberta, and a great example is the Stampede, where when the Stampede's on, everybody knows you get your cowboy hats, you get your boots, and you have a fun time. It might not seem it at a glance, but it is culture, and it's proud culture that they have here in Alberta. When I can, I do travel around still within the province. So, Drumheller, of course, Southern Alberta, I've been there quite a bit. Coots, Lethbridge, going to Banff, going to the mountains, period. Just seeing the mountains in the background. With regards to the situation, at least the current situation in Ukraine that we're seeing, it's regardless of the side of the fence that you're taking on that, it's an opportunity for Canadian energy. And countries around the world are looking for alternatives to certain less ethical production of energy. Well, Canada is the option, and it's not being utilized. It's ultimately being sequestered time and time again. And this is an opportunity not just for Canada, not just for the world and the countries that are seeking a bit of independence when it comes to their energy and a bit of an alternative, but it's also everyday Canadians. How many Canadians have been lifted up by the energy industry? Hundreds of thousands of Canadians. This is food on the table for day-to-day Canadians, the salt of the earth people that we all know and love, our family members, our friends. Their lives are being hurt by what Justin Trudeau is doing.